Hi, welcome to the second part on how to make a basque corset crop top with bra cup and bone. This is the second part video. The first part video was on how I drafted the pattern, so this one is just on sewing. I used these two fabrics, the Ankara print and the hard cotton fabric, as my to create the bias for my boning channel. I also use an interfacing, a light interfacing. It has a bit of adhesive. I use the bra cup. I use the double adhesive tape. I used the lighter for the bone. I used a sewing bone. You can sew on this bone. I also made this one to iron, like to press my bra cup, my pin as usual, my thread. So I bought an opener close zipper, and I'm also using the elastic. So the first thing I did was to create my bias. So the strap of fabric was 2.5 inches. I just folded it both ways equally, fold it again and press. So just making sure that it fits into the bone, that the bone can fit into it when I sew it on the top. So this is how I create that. I just had to get that one off before I sew proper. So I have arranged my patterns to cut them on the fabric, and I have done so. I've cut them out in fold. I have like two pieces each for both for the in both for the lining and for the main front of the dress. So I cut the interfacing, so you can see my seam allowance there. So I just cut the interfacing same as the pattern, so you can see my allowance, my seam allowance. So now I am starting with the bra cup. Making this the bra cup is quite different from my other corset videos, so I would recommend you watch those videos. I would really recommend you watch them, and so you can like get few tips from them. So first thing is to arrange them the way they were cut and pin them together just like so, the front facing the front. And so I have four pieces there I'm using for the facing and for the main one. I like to see my pattern. I like to put them side by side, the way it's been cut, the way it's been ironed, so I can align them properly before sewing. I don't want to mix them up, and I don't want to lose the stitches and sew again. So I'm starting with the facing of the cup. So the next step is to put the top parts of the top pieces of the top, just like so, pin them together and sew the front, facing the front, like lapping each other. Then you pin at the back and you sew at the back. This is it also. This is the lining of the cup. So this is for the front of the bra cup. So I'm using the tape to create the design as in the picture, the inspiration picture. So I'm using the tape. I'm gonna sew it on the edges of the tape. So I'm going to be using the thread of the tape, the color, yeah, the same color as the fabric for the tape. So I'm sewing close to the edges. So yeah, sometimes when I don't get the edges, I have to like use my seam ripper and rip and sew. So that is all done. The next step is to attach and sew the top cover of the bra cup. So this is all done. Before stitching the tape on the cover, I had to press all the cup pieces. So I've pressed the cup pieces. So the next step is to attach the tape on the stitch line to create the design, the final design for the cup cover. I try to place the tape so it will cover the center. So the mid of the tape, the mid center of the tape will be on the center of the joining there. Then I sew on both edges. You can sew on one edge and leave the other edge open as a design, or you can just do what I did and just copy same thing and sew on both edges. So I am doing something I've never done in my corset videos. So I am going to be gluing the cover, that's the facing, on the bra cup. So this is the allowance, the joining allowance there, the bra cup seam allowance. Yeah, I think it's seam allowance. Yeah, the bra cup seam allowance, which I'll be making use of as my seam allowance while I'm attaching the bra cup to the main top. So now I cut the adhesive tape enough to cover the bra cup. If you notice, the bra cup is facing the back where the facing should be. I had to just pull it to the other side so it will face the back and lay the adhesive. So I covered it with the facing just like so. Place it on the ball so I can press it so it can stick to the cup. So this is it, all done. It is now, yeah, it is now glued to the bra cup at the back. So the next step is just to cut the excess out. So like I said earlier, I'm making use of the bra cup joining allowance, the seam allowance, or the sewing allowance, whichever you call it. I'm done with the first cup, so I did the same thing for the second cup. So the next step was to cover the front of the cup. So like I said, I made use of the cup allowance, which is like a quarter of an inch. So I placed it from the back of the cup. I placed my front cover, the front facing the front of the back, and pin it on the allowance, the sewing allowance at the top. I used my hand to feel it, then pin, then stitch. So watch. After that is done, I did a top stitch. I always do top stitches, especially when I'm putting um, a facing, so it doesn't budge to the other side. So once that is done, I turned it over just like so, and so it's everything is um, laid properly, just so on the same allowance of the cup, so everything is held together and looks good. The next step is to sew the body, the pieces together, the top pieces together. So I just aligned them properly and joined every sides together. All the seams I joined together, and so the interfacing, I've already reviewed my seam allowance, so I don't need to fuss about the seam allowance. So I just joined the front pieces, the back pieces together, all the pieces together, and so including the lining too. Like I said, I like to put my pattern where I can see them, so I don't make mistakes and I had to lose them and sew again. No, I just like to put them together and see which is which, then stitch. So this is it. I have already pinned them together and ready to stitch them up. So I did the same for the lining and for the main piece. The next step is to sew the channel for the bone. So I just use the tape to size where I need to put the bone, which is all the joining. I just size it up, then cut. So I like to pin up one side, so I'll be able to sew the other side freely, then remove the pins and sew the other side. That's the edges. So after pinning, I went ahead to sew the edges. all done. Now to get the channel for the center, I had to fold the piece together and notch the center, both the top and the bottom. This is just a guideline to get straight, to get the channels, to make the channel straight. I also, to create another guideline, I had to rule a straight line because I think I'm not getting the line all the way. So I had to create a guideline so I can get a straight line to pin the tape. To create the other channel, where that's to connect the channel to the design on the bra, I had to pin the bra cup just like so. I had to pin it just exactly the way I'll be sewing the bra cup on the top. So I just pinned it using the seam allowance there, pinned it all the way. And yeah, so this gives me the proper angle where I can place the other channel for the bone, just like so. So you can see it's that easy. I just place it. From the center channel, I left half an inch just to give that no, a quarter of an inch, just to give the space between each channel. I pinned and stitch. So here we go, all done. The next step is to just pin the bra cup. So I've done something like this before in my previous corset videos, so you can also check that out. Like I said, I just pinned round, leaving the sewing allowance at the top side. Okay, yeah, I used a needle on thread just to hold it together. So yeah, I don't like to stress myself while sewing. I think I've said that before. I just like everything together. I don't want to sew 2 times. I hate to sew 2 times. I hate to sew twice. I hate to use my reaper, my seam reaper, to remove stitches and sew back. So I rather use needle and thread to keep it together. So yeah, I did. So here we go. The next step is to insert the bone. So now you can insert the bone after sewing in your facing, or you can just insert the bone like I did. So I just cut up to the sides, leaving the sewing allowance both for the top and the bottom. I used my lighter to seal the 2 sides of the bone so it won't fray. So you can see, if you notice that this the channel is a little bit free. I like tight channels where it takes time for me to insert the bone. It gives it more snatch look than when the channel is free. So I have placed my facing, so I'm going to sew at the side. I'm going to pin down and so just sew at the top, leaving the bra cup. I'm done stitching, so I just turned it over to the other side, so to the back. If you notice the way I folded the side, that's the sewing allowance while sewing. So I'm going to do a top stitch just to keep it from bulging out to the other side. So I've done the top stitch. You can just tuck it in just like this and call it a day. You can just tuck the cup just like this and lock the cup and call it a day. Yeah, or you can just do what I do, hand stitch, then you sew. So what I did was to hand stitch to keep them together, because it's really tight, so I have to hand stitch. I don't want to use my pin, and while sewing it would unravel, so I just used my needle and thread to keep the cup together just like so. Then I sew. So later on I took out the after sewing I took out the thread, sorry. Okay, for the bottom, what I did was just to fold the two sides together and press, then pin. So I press just to get a seamless stitch. I don't want to like start folding and sewing and folding and sewing, so I just press together. So for the other, I did a tutorial where I had to like sew the two sides together and then drag it out, so you won't see the stitches on the top of the body. But you can't do that for this because the back is small and the front is long and I have a bone on it, so it's going to be difficult for me to drag it out. So I just did this, the stop stitch on it. So I would have done better with the bottom by using the same thread, so it won't show, the thread on the orange color won't show. But you know what, this is personal, so it's all good. Next thing I did was sew my zipper. I've done this before, so I'm going to put the link of the video. This is the video, yeah. So what I did was to fold my my zipper allowance, then pin and sew using my zipper foot. So you can also use needle and thread. I think the video I used needle and thread to hold it together, but this one is quite small, so I don't need needle and thread. And if you notice that the zipper is longer, so I just trimmed it to size. If you want to add a boning channel there, you can also do that too. I just folded the excess. I didn't really do much here. I just folded the excess inside, then top stitch. That is it. For the inside, as the 1-inch zipper allowance, I just did a zigzag stitch on it. Now for the sleeve is just a breeze. You just join the side together. Yes, just stitch the side together. After stitching the side, I folded it twice in such a way that I'll be able to insert my elastic, and so leaving space to insert my elastic. I've done this method in most of my videos using like a puffy sleeve, so I've done this method in most of my videos, so you can watch my videos, please watch others, watch and like my videos, please like, subscribe, share, please. It will help me a lot. So I used a hairpin. I found this method to be really easy, using a hairpin rather than safety pin. So I used my hairpin and round all the way. So yeah, I stitched on top of the elastic, then closed the open space. Time to attach the puff sleeve. I just placed it at the side of the top, placing the joining at the side of the top, so 1 inch on the front side and 1 inch on the back side. Just so this is just fast and easy. Nothing to the sleeve, actually, nothing to the sleeve. It's just the body that has the work. So this is it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Subscribe, please. Like my video.